Okay, YouTube, we're gonna do a reading for Aquarius, the sign Aquarius. Just as always, if you do not resonate with anything in this video, please do not take it and try to make it fit. Again, if it does resonate with you, you're going to use it as a guide only for the things that you weren't aware of or the things that you asked God or the Most High to reveal to you. And again, use your discernment before making any major decisions. If it does not resonate with you, but it does sound like it may resonate with someone you do know, then I gladly pass this information off to you to deliver to them. If you are interested in contacting passed on loved ones, check out my EMF videos. I also explain how you can do that yourself if you wanted to. I am going to start this reading off with a blind Bible pull, and then I will get into the tarot. Here's the bird. Alright. Tell me when to stop. Alright, so we're opening up to Proverbs 29:27, and we're going to start at 29. It says, whoever remains stiff-necked after many rebukes will suddenly be destroyed without remedy. When the righteous thrive, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people groan. A man who loves wisdom brings joy to his father, but a companion of prostitutes squanders his wealth. By justice, a king gives a country stability, but those who are greedy for bribes tear it down. Those who flatter their neighbors are spreading nets for their feet, and then evildoers are snared by their own sin, but the righteous shown for joy are glad. So, whoever remains stiff-necked after many rebukes will suddenly be destroyed without remedy. This is showing that you still need to be very careful, because even if you're rebuking things in your environment and you're witnessing those things disappear, there still are spirits or energy or entities, demons or devils, that can still be lingering around you that were not affected by your rebuke, because one, you either didn't directly aim it at them, or they were smart enough to stay out of the environment during that time. Says but at the same time, divine knows your intention. So if these people at the end of the day were meant to be rebuked along with the others when you did it, it will happen for them. When the righteous thrive, the people rejoice, and when the wicked rule, the people groan. So when the righteous thrive, meaning everybody around you is going to rejoice you for your successes, because they know that if you're successful, that means they're successful because they at some point contributed to your knowledge or your growth or your decision making. So the ones that are wicked groan because they know that they have spent their entire time trying to keep you down or sending negative things towards you so that you don't succeed or you don't get what you were aiming for. It says a man who loves wisdom brings joy to his father, and that is because each generation is supposed to be smarter than the last. Each generation is supposed to obtain more knowledge than the last. And what are we supposed to do with the knowledge when we get it? We're supposed to share it. So first, if you gain knowledge that your elders aren't aware of, and you know that they either need or can better their life off of, you're supposed to take it back to them so that they can use it. It says, but a companion of prostitutes squanders his wealth. Prostitutes are out for two things. Obviously, you're having sex, and then other is money. They want payment for that sex, right? That goes fast. It says, by justice, a king gives country stability. By those who are greedy for bribes, tear it down. So, a real king that is gonna go by things that are right, be rewarded, things that are wrong, be acknowledged, and there be consequences, regardless of who you are. The things where people aren't really out for justice, but more for their own gain, material items, things like that, it's going to get tore down. You're not going to have any rules, no consequences, no boundaries, nothing like that. And then it says, those who flatter their neighbors are spreading nets for their feet. So, you may be being nice and you think giving compliments to people are a way to stay neighborly or stay kind or whatnot, but in reality, you are boosting this person's ego up, and that could potentially make them turn and look at you as if you're not as good as them. And then when you get something that is better than what they have, or something that they've been trying to get but haven't been able to, whether you're aware of it or not, it will then cause them to turn around and think, say, or do things to you. So it's just best not to talk to anyone unless they've approached you. Don't go out your way to say things if it's not something you really mean to say to them. Evildoers are snared by their own sin, but the righteous shout for joy and are glad. So, evildoers are snared by their own sin. That is because, one, if you're sinning, you're impeding on someone else's free will. You're probably doing something that causes some type of harm or trauma or distress to somebody else or a business, whatever it is. So you eventually will get caught up in that. The righteous shout for joy and are glad. This is because this has two meanings to me. One, the righteous are joy and glad because it's for them. You have people who look at people who are religious or spiritual as perfect. So when they do commit a sin, it's still, in a sense, gives them a feeling of like, I'm still human, right? And allows them to step out of the box, the stereotype that society gives them. Two, it's because it will show you the lukewarm or the false spiritualists versus the real spiritualists, who are just hiding behind a facade. Then it says, mockers stir up a city, but the wise turn away anger. Mockers are going to be people who instigate, right? You're going to hear something that so-and-so said. They're going to go to this person and this person, and they're going to keep talking about it until it hits a nerve with somebody. And then they're going to make sure that nerve is at an all-time high. And then the wise turn away anger. The wise don't want to engage in that because it's a waste of energy and it's a waste of time, when you can move on to a new subject, or you can go about obtaining different knowledge. And again, anger is exhausting. It's exhausting to be angry, and it's exhausting to have to deal with someone else's anger. It is a wise person who goes to court with a fool. The fool rages and scoffs, and there's no peace. So if you've ever been to court, you know judges do not like any party to show emotion. They want facts brought to the table, and there's a certain mannerism you have in court. Again, anger or outrage, tone and voice, all of it is a sign of emotion. So if you're the lucky one and you are the one that's able to control those things about you, and the person you're going to court with cannot, you can almost bet whether they're right or you're right, it's going to go in your favor. The bloodthirsty hate a person of integrity and seek to kill the upright. So the upright and a person of integrity can be two different types of people, or it can be all in one person. But a person of integrity is, this person of integrity could be bloodthirsty, let's say a vampire, right? But because they have integrity, they're not going to hit every person to collect their supply from. They're going to have rules and morals. So like, let's say elderly people and children are not non-negotiable. They're not going to try to get their resources from that group of people. The ones that are upright are majority of the time people who don't have much to worry about. They try to be morally correct in their living, but there's always a falter in that they view themselves as better than the ones that are not at their level or higher. Fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end. So a fool is somebody who, whether they acknowledge it or not, they amp themselves up because of the rage and emotion that they feel. Instead of just acknowledging it, yeah, I'm angry, and then processing that stuff through their body, they talk and they talk and they talk and they vent and vent and vent and vent and vent until they get angrier and angrier, and then they have no choice but to make a move, right? Their body can't handle it anymore. A wise one is going to take that rage that they have and acknowledge it to themselves. Yes, I'm angry about this, but then they're going to sit and think about where they can apply the information that they just got that made them angry. Can they hold on to it and use it for later? Can they go and investigate and find something to counteract whatever made them angry? But they're going to do it in a way that doesn't necessarily cause harm or impede on others' free will. This wise person is going to wait for the Most High to give signs of their next move, or if Most High says, no, you don't need to do absolutely anything, I'm going to handle it. Could be court, kids, relationships, houses, who knows. It says the poor and the oppressor have this in common. The Lord gives sight to the eyes of both. So for the poor stay down because there's an insecurity there. There's a doubt that somebody has planted in their head of they're not good enough or they can't do it. And so when they get to that point where they've lost everything, they literally just throw their hands up and say fuck it, right? And they attempt to adapt to that lifestyle. The oppressor is somebody who has those same insecurities. Somebody has planted a doubt in their head, has made them feel insecure, non-confident, and so what they're going to do is look for people to keep them down under them so that they know at all times they either have somebody to blame, they have somebody to fall back on because they done put them at that lower part, right? Or they have somebody to trail behind them and be their yes man type of thing. Says, if a king judges the poor with fairness, his throne will be established forever. If the king judges the poor with fairness, his throne will be established forever. This is meaning you take the stereotype out of it. You take all the facts that you know that coming with being poor or homeless is a certain lifestyle, and you look at the issue at itself, the person who did it by itself, not their environment, not their income, right? The person, the way they talk, how they think. You judge the person versus the act, then you should be considered fair. A rod and a reprim impart wisdom. Says, but a child left undisciplined disgraces its mother. So, abuse versus discipline. If you do them both, you skew the whole concept of the child learning, right? It creates confusion for the whole goal of what you're trying to get your child to understand and pick up on. Why what they did was bad. Okay? And then you create anger because of the physical pain. So the concept of picking up on the lesson and why they shouldn't have done what they did is now out the window. They're not going to understand it. They're not going to know they did it because they're blinded by the anger from the physical abuse. Okay? On top of that, it's a dual punishment because now they can't do this and this for a week and they got beat, right? It says, but the child left undisciplined disgraces its mother because if we are thinking biblical, we're going to think majority of the children they have are males, okay? So if a child is left undisciplined, without reprimand, right, without a consequence, they will disrespect their mother, their authoritative figure. They'll figure out that they aren't going to get consequences at home. They aren't in jeopardy of disappointing their parental figure and a relationship becoming tarnished or whatever. They will eventually end up walking over the parent. It says, when the wicked thrive, so does the sin, but the righteous will see their downfall. So, when the wicked thrive off of sin, they eventually have to create more sin in order to feed the hunger that they received, right? The stuff they received for whatever sin they committed, that obviously fed the hunger for them, right? So that's going to make them more and more hungry. So eventually you get somebody who creates more and more sins. For the righteous, we'll see their downfall. A righteous person may create a sin, right, and profit off of that sin. once a righteous person realizes that what they did was a sin, they acknowledge it and they counteract their profit with something in a way to give back, right? With no obligation and no gain from it, no recognition from it. So it's not that the righteous are judging them and trying to get front row seats. It's that the righteous are going to realize where they sinned at, whether during the sin or after the sin, and then they're going to do something to counteract the profit, the gain that they got. That way it acknowledges to the universe that, oops, I fucked up, I realized that, my bad. But then at the same time, they're going to watch the other people that they're around who aren't going to do that type of inner work. They're not going to do those type of moves to counteract their profit off of the sin. And so they're going to watch them, get caught up with jail or go homeless or just can't seem to get their life together, or they stop maturing, things like that. Says, discipline your children and they will give you peace. They will bring you the delights you desire. The delights you desire should only be that your child succeeds and goes further in life than you did. The delights you should desire is that your child does not get hurt outside of life's lessons, pain that it provides, and that your child does not lose their life to some type of violence or murder, and that your child is happy with their life and their partner, okay? That their partner does not do such incredible things that it breaks your child apart and kind of dismantles who they are, right? Those should be the only things that you desire for your child. Children need routine. Now, you may live a crazy life. Maybe you're having money problems and you don't know what hotel you're going to sleep in next week. That's fine, okay? Your routine is going to come in from the second you get to that next hotel. Routine would be, okay, here's dinner, take a shower, sit down and do homework, bedtime. No matter what, throughout the day, there is a routine that no matter where you are, it takes place. So let's say you have to go stay at a friend's house, right? And you don't have your own place. So like every week you're going to have to pack your stuff up in the car and go to the next spot. That's fine. Your child needs to know that you're there at the next spot. You're taking them there with you. And that there's always a shower. There's always a meal. There's always bedtime. There's always homework time, no matter what. And it's being done under your guidance, under your authority, your supervision, with your attention. When your child does something wrong, your child needs to know that discipline will always be there. There will always be a consequence for their action. You can't threaten to do something like take their phone away and then your child waits a couple more weeks to do the act again and you don't follow through with taking the phone away. You have to follow through with whatever you say you're going to do, and that is your stability, that's your routine. Okay, we're going to pull cards on tarot to see what situation Aquarius is dealing with. could be somebody, either this Aquarius or somebody the Aquarius knows that gets a pain in their temple area prior to angry outbursts. Someone needs to pay attention to that and document that. So we have the High Priestess, we have the Five of Wands, we have the Fool, we have the Nine of Cups, we have the Lovers, Okay, so with the High Priestess, the Five of Wands, and the Fool, there is a woman here who caused a great amount of internal conflict between a mother and daughter. And this was due to a relationship here. Okay, the relationship started out as being a divinely guided relationship. Um, this woman was asked by the divine to leave it alone, not to continue this, and he would ensure that she was going to be gifted her wishes, but this woman did not follow through. Um, this woman was able to turn the daughter of this other woman away from the family, okay, and causing a death between the emperor and knocking this woman down to a Five of Cups. So swarming her life with a bunch of death. Okay, so this daughter, instead of this Five of Cups being left with three still standing in the back, this daughter went and picked up her own cup and left, abandoned her, leaving her with just the two standing, but knowing what was coming next, right? So judgment came in and pretty much tested these people. Judgment came in and pit these two daughters. So there's another daughter here. There's a daughter of this original older high priestess female. Okay. Then you have here, she's got a daughter. Then you have the one that she's trying to cause conflict with. They have a daughter. So her daughter and her daughter are now pitted against each other, okay? One is being promised, or actually they're both being promised a profit, a reward for being able to follow through with this destruction, right? Here, the daughter of the Fool right here, she's got her back turned because she is now realizing that by doing this, she's screwed herself, okay? She no longer has the foundation and the life that she was living, that she was used to, right? Everything, by doing this, everything got taken, everything was destroyed. And she's looking over here at this King of Wands, who was probably once a part of her life, that has now turned her back on her. So now she's realizing that a boyfriend figure was just using her for what they had. Here, you're watching the mother figure who is used to or was abundant in her seeds growing, providing them these pentacles to survive off of, is sitting here, and this is in reverse. So this is the layout of the home. They're letting you know that this got messed up. Okay, so the Seven of Pentacles versus the Strength in reverse. So now the mother, who was planting her own seeds and able to really manifest and produce this income, is in reverse. She's now losing it. She doesn't have the strength she did before. She doesn't have the income she did before. There is no relationship here. And then you're seeing the daughter having to pick up, having to come in and help pick up slack, having to help pay for things, having to help get a job, find ways to produce. She's just done with it. She's done with helping. She's done with putting in. So this offer that came in from this lady here to go on ahead and caused this split between this mother and daughter was sold to her like this. You were blinded. You didn't know what was going to be happening to you. We know that you have been having to suffer for, the last whatever many years. And, we know what's the cause of it. You want us to help get you out of this so that you can turn around and not have to wear this blindfold or be on guard or anything like that. But we're going to need help taking all these swords and putting them in to here, which would be the mother figure, right? And this card here showing that Divine is saying that this offer came out of the blue. It came out of nowhere. They were not expecting it. The daughter was literally sitting here with her phone, frustrated, hands crossed, probably because she's got to keep an eye on whatever's going on in their environment. She's got to help out, right? And this offer coming in made it sound real good because it's promising that everything they had and then some is going to be given to her. She's not going to have to lift a finger. There will be people beneath her that she can dictate or tell what to do if she wanted to. She'll have her own transportation. Things like that. Divine stepped in with the Ace of Swords in reverse and said, no, don't do it. Don't take the offer. You're not going to get the justice that you're wanting. But she took it, right? Now with the Six of Wands, it's magician work. So they probably asked her if she was into magic, if she would be interested in learning magic, right? And that somebody who could possibly teach her how would be sent in to help her obtain this justice that Divine says she's not going to get. So now a magician comes into play. This magician appears to be a Knight of Cups, right? Who is going to be working with the King of Cups to destroy this family unit, right? With the exception of the Sun. Okay, so somebody's coming in. They're going to teach her how to do the same work they do. They're both going to work on, in this girl's head, they're both going to work on this King of Cups. She's not seeing that this King of Cups is who provided this pentacle to him. So she's being backdoored herself, being tricked herself. And then you have the Ten of Cups, the family photo, in reverse. So they're breaking up the home, okay, in the exception of the boys. So, or the son of God, the sunflower. So this is everything happy, everything in your life that makes you happy, right? With the exception of what is most important to this girl, okay? Then you have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. This is supposed to be the Fool. The Fool, the mother of this girl, was on a journey, a brand new journey, which is why she's in the Fool card. They were trying to keep her from reaching the Queen of Pentacles position because this Six of Pentacles wanted it. Now, the problem we have with that, the Six of Pentacles wanting it, is it was originally promised to the daughter, right here, with the Six of Wands. The daughter wanted that, and they promised it to her, but they didn't give it to her. The older other lady of the other daughter, she took it. And now what's happening is she's got the Six of Pentacles and is kibble and bidding her. So instead of paying her what was agreed upon or following through with whatever the agreement was. She's taking it and just pieces every so often, but she's getting tired of it. Okay. We have the Chariot in reverse, so this person may possibly have been able to get their own home because these people have been paying a monthly fee or whatever, and maybe on top of obtaining a job, this person's been able to get a vehicle and a home. Well, because the kibble and bidding is taking place, the money's not the same now. It's not as much as it was. Bills can't be afforded. She's struggling to pay for things and is worried about losing her income and her home. The Queen of Swords, unfortunately, is going to have her back turned. Or Divine is saying to have your back turned. Do not accept this person when they come to you. In fact, I think it might be the other way around. It might be the mother whose home is in jeopardy again for a second time, and could be going to this daughter who is under the impression she's a Queen of Swords but isn't. And it's two scenarios I'm picking up on, and the daughter could be getting ready to stab the mom in the back, or the mom is about ready to find out how the daughter stabbed her in the back. Or it's this way: the mother is now aware of how she lost her home the first time, right? And she's on guard. She's been given permission to hold the sword. The daughter, who has disappeared or went into hermit mode, being quiet, is ready to step back from these people because she's realizing, one, they're either not answering her anymore, or two, the things are getting a little funny and possibly people could be getting into trouble, right? So she doesn't realize that the mother figure is not going to be there for when she's ready to vent about this. Divine has already given her a warning to come clean, and she didn't do it in that time frame. So she is not even aware. I don't think that the Queen of Swords is already suited for this to happen. For Aquarius spirit. There may have been one of the siblings who walked in on this daughter and a partner that this mother was either with or somebody she had in the home consistently enough for the daughter to have an encounter. The two younger siblings walked in on this encounter, and that is when a plan was probably put together to take out on one of the siblings or to take out on one of the parents. But this was done. Yeah, this was done with the person that they slept with, though. Um, Here you can see he's writing up a script, attempting to put this person in jail. And this person acting as if she's the victim, innocent victim here, right? There's a secret there. So I don't know if somebody gave somebody drugs and it's still a secret, or if a picture was taken or something was recorded. There's something that is of evidence that this younger child or the female of one of the parents, the mother of one of the parents, has for blackmail. I don't know. Something is very off with that one. Somebody's holding on to something that you're not aware of, and it could very well be of evidence for what's going on. Whether you're trying to, it has something to do with what some kids saw. Yeah, so somebody that this Aquarius is dealing with is somebody that has no problem waiting, waiting for things to come in. With the Eight of Wands, they have no problem waiting for opportunities to present themselves. Life may have gotten a little too chaotic, and they started to lose momentum. Maybe got too caught up in living everyday life that they weren't able to see the chaos that was coming at them, so they weren't prepared for it. This person, this parent that they did this to, is a reliable parent. They're committed, they're conservative, slow, but steady and hardworking, right? They take their time, make sure it's done right. This child is a part of causing illusion and confusion for this parent. This child is a part of creating secrets and uncertainty for the parent. And the whole reason being is because this child was promised adventure. This child was promised material gain, fresh look, whole new life, right? Now this child is experiencing blocked happiness and unrealistic expectations. This child is a pessimistic view against life now. This child is feeling like no matter what angle they take, no matter what agreements they make, they're still stuck with this type of life. This child has now watched their parent figure move forward. They're on a new journey. They look to be stable and in some type of transition, right? But it looks like they're moving away from the child. This parent keeps telling this child to balance themselves, to have patience, moderation. They need to come into harmony with themselves, and telling her then, only then will she be able to find mutual respect between people, have connections with those around them, and possibly find true love. This child is now going to have to face the repercussions of surviving a disaster and their fears of an inevitable end coming true, because it is the send back of the energy that they sent out towards their parent. This person is dealing with somebody who is devious, withdrawn, cold, overwhelmed, and selfish. They just have no idea yet. Right now, this child feels independent, feels like they have achieved things, but they're upset because they have watched their parent come across successes and achievements along with material security at an early age. So this is a level that she is trying to beat and struggling to get there. The parent is somebody who has constantly told this child that they need to study, they need to be consistent, grounded, and then they'll see their ambitions come through. This child has a lack of control and is wanting to cause unwanted changes to this parent. This child is stuck in gossip, loneliness, excess, isolation, and scandals. This child does not want to admit their defeat or they're powerless. They don't want to admit they've been criticism towards their parent, or surrendering things. This child has made this parent feel unwelcomed, made this parent feel that they can't come back to any of their family homes, has made sure that this parent feels that any instability her or the children have, or any type of feelings of neglect, are from them. This is massive abuse between the parent and child right now. Then there's an inequality, extortion, selfishness, debt, string of attached gifts. So somebody has approached this child, offered them things, and each time this child takes this gift or this money or whatever, there seems to be an assignment or an action or a need attached to it, that she is now, what they're doing is trying to train the child into taking gifts for service. Probably a tactic for early sex trafficking, brainwashing or manipulation, so that if the child was to surrender to sexual acts or sex industry, it wouldn't be, something that would be unheard of, because the child was already taking deals like this. This child does not like the mother, the parent. In fact, they cringe when they hear their parent talk. And it's nothing the parent did that was an abusive act. It was the child going from one home to another and not being center stage in each home. This is a personality defect that was already in the child. It says need to find a balance with their energy, patience. If work is good, home is bad. If home is good, work is bad. It says they're still thinking about a past relationship. And it says they're feeling that a past relationship is the only person that lights up their life. But they feel like they dim theirs. It says the only way to... It says if you expect people to be a certain way and they aren't, and you rely on these people to bring you happiness, then you're always going to stay sad and disappointed. You have to allow people to be who they are. And if you don't like who they are, then you don't have them in your life. You don't make them act different. Says they're not the problem, you are. Homework. Says you need to find ways to advance your vocabulary besides the words you use. It's not helping your communication with your partner. Patience, and you're being asked to pray and get back into your belief of God again. Excuse me. Your family is needing you to do this. You may not be spending any time with family members right now. If you are the Aquarius, you're diving into work, and you have a select few of people you're around. You're probably not able to communicate your emotions. If you are not the Aquarius, but you're cross-watching and you're the parent, same thing. They may feel that you're not spending enough time and you work too much. Now again, if this child is wanting to be center stage at all times, this is going to have to be a life lesson that the child learns, that you cannot be center stage all the time. Life happens and life requires you to put your attention towards other things sometimes. So again, it comes down to communicating that with your child, because right now this child has gone as far as to take money and help hide the secret of an action taken against you, and may have even participated in it. Definitely got involved with a past partner. Here we have abundance, luxury, self-sufficiency, self-worth, financial independence, leisure, rewarded, effort, success, and achievements. We have adventure, excitement, fresh ideas, cheerfulness, energetic, fearless, discovery, young spirit, limitless potential, and extrovert. This, to me, sounds like something that the mother is wishing for the daughter, and this is something the daughter is wanting for herself, which appears to be the same thing, right? And then here we have manipulative, harsh, bitchy, cold, spiteful, cruel, deceitful, unforgiving, pessimistic, malicious, and bitter. But then here you have the real situation. So what's the blockage there? What's the emotional blockage there? Regret, failure, disappointment, grief, pessimism, feeling abandoned or unloved, loss, sadness, mourning, and discontent. So this child has this hatred for this mother, even though they want the same thing for the daughter, right? The daughter has gone through, and this could be both of them sharing this, right? The mother or the daughter, or both, have a sense of regret, a failure, a disappointment, a grief, a pessimism, a feeling abandoned or unloved, a loss, a sadness, a mourning, and discontent. So somebody is possibly a grudge holder. Somebody possibly has a hard time working through their emotions and then letting them go. And somebody could have just learned that and has not yet gotten to teach the other person, or the other person has this divide between the relationship that they're not accepting the other person to teach them that, right? But here's the thing, my head is hurting. So this emotional distraught, creating this block here, it's causing something to happen in this person's head, and it's not good. It doesn't feel good, is what I'm feeling. Choices, cloud of judgment, many options, illusions, opportunities, wishful thinking, searching for a purpose, and indecision, disarray. That's probably how, I don't know, they both maybe feel like that. Let's see. Okay, says fulfilling in learning from the past, returning home, aimlessness, staying in a bad situation, avoidance, fear of change. So to me, that makes me feel like the daughter may be upset with the mother because learning from past mistakes has taken too long, right? And staying in a bad situation for too long, and then that being done because of fear of change and avoiding the fact that the situation was bad, right? But then here you have the mother dealing with betrayal, deception, theft, dishonesty, scheming, and cunning. So you have a child who is wanting this mother to learn from all these things, right, that caused all these issues. Feels like the mother's not learning fast enough, so the daughter's taken it upon herself to go on ahead and shoot that arrow in the back. We have delays, impatience, frustrations, hot temper, reckless, lack of self-control, passive, and domineering. And we have releasing pain, forgiveness, recovery, apologies, emotional, physical healing, repressing emotions, and self-love. So, it's like you go back and forth, right? This person has these feelings, hot temper, whatever. Now they're asking for forgiveness. They are apologizing. You know, they want to heal, but then here we have fear of change, adverting disaster, moment has already passed, aggression, carelessness, negligence, and apathy. So they're in this cycle. They're in the cycle of having these really bad feelings about you, and then they do something, and then they want to come back and apologize, and they realize that it was a little too drastic, and they see that things have changed, made improvement, but then they go back into the feeling again. So, this daughter is a chicken to come to you and tell you the real them, okay? They are worried about divulging their real appearance to you. They think that you don't already know. They feel like this is going to become an entertainment thing if they do tell somebody or tell you. They feel like the entire family or your guys' social group, whatever, is going to turn this into something that is going to create a sense of justice for you, right? She's worried about the perception that is going to be had, and what you're going to realize about their personality. This daughter does feel like there is a battle between the grown, evolved, uh, bird. So bad. So you're going from, a dark child mindset to you're growing into a bird, something that is able to go from the bottom to the top, okay? And she's this child, still childlike, who has made bird feathers for her to imitate you, but is on the flying broom. So she doesn't feel that she's able to soar to certain levels like you have. And a lot of that out of fear is because there is a darkness, a dark personality there inside of her. She knows that this is going to come down to having to admit this, right? She's worried about faith coming involved, as if there's not going to be a forgiveness there. She's not going to be accepted there. There might be a borderline personality or something going on. So, what the act of love is, this child feels puppeteered. As if, like, okay, I do bad things, but I do good things too. Do you still love me? Academic. This child did not do good at academic. Or there's an academic between you two. There's a lack of wisdom there between you two. This child could be trying to study up on bohemian ways, on spirituality ways. You need to be careful because she's puppeteer. So, even though she's puppeteer and she feels that she's putting on a mask, she has been able to trigger into certain familiar gifts that run in your bloodline that have made her into the magician, whether she knows it or not. She's going to mess up on this and create an illusion that she's going to put herself in. That is probably where the other personality is coming from. She's going to be in big trouble if she messes with any spell work at all. She's probably opened up some gates that she shouldn't have. There's a wanting of peace, but she's got to work for it, and she's got to have the optimism for it, is what your ancestors are saying. For her to obtain the peace, she must do the labor, work on herself, her dark side, and be optimistic about the transition. So it's not too late for her. She's not stuck with this other personality. And it takes active self-care and love and support. Then she will shine. She needs to change her location. She needs to not be so much attached to things. And she needs to put time into herself. Okay, I'm going to end it with the angel cards and then we're done. Six of Michael, it says, it's the light at the end of the tunnel. Breathe and sigh relief and make new plans. Relocation and travel. So in the last deck I just had out, I said she needs to change her location. So, that's correct. Relocation and travel. Divine guidance. It says, the search for meaning of life. Consider the alternative approach. Surround yourself with wise teachers or friends. This person needs to start figuring out who they are and what they want out of their life and get on that path. It says, yes, it is safe to trust the ability to accomplish anything at once when you follow your creative passions. So she needs to realize she can trust herself and her intuition. Oh my gosh, okay. And lastly, a challenge you can resolve. Withdraw from the drama of others. Have patience with yourself and those around you. So she needs to definitely leave whoever she's around. Whether she lives with family or friends. The environment's not good for her, and the focus of the changing that she needs to do. So, alright. Maybe try to sit down with your kid, if this is yours, and have a conversation about what they're into in life and how they can go about obtaining that, and the things in the past that they feel affect them, and what they need from you as a parent to have that release, that forgiveness, and to move on. If you've already done that type of thing and your child still has not forgiven you, then that's an internal issue that they're going to have to figure out themselves to solve, unfortunately. And that's that. Alright, you guys, have a good rest of your day.